All right, my family, una cabo. Of course, just like how we don't tell una. Of course, una know in the past week, waiting beyond the happen na the West African sub-region, specifically talking about the elected vice president of Sierra Leone, where the president been sacked. Of course, we talk about Alhaji AbuBakarr Sidique Sumana, where the president been sacked, and of course, the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone began for rule on in case in favor of the president. And so instead decide say on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone again for take that case they up na the ECOWAS court. So if you don't care go that case na the ECOWAS court, and of course this past week, within this week, the ECOWAS court don't rule on that case in favor of the vice president, saying that the president not being fair enough for for SACAM, and not being getting authority for SACAM. And so now that's now one of the main issues that will happen, in Sierra Leone and West Africa this week. So now in we can't talk about now. And so for talk about this issue, we get one of our brothers, where now is Sierra Leonean based in the United Kingdom, precisely in London. Of course, we talk about Mr. Kevin Metzger. Now we're going to talk to today. We're now a barrister at law, of course, based in the UK. Hello, Mr. Metzger. How you do, sir?
Hello, Mr. Sheriff. I'm very good, thank you.
That's good. Welcome to Sheriff's Broadcast Network. Of course, we know say you're not personally very, very busy. In fact, you're there about for travel, but you don't spare your time for can't talk to we, on this very important issue. And so we don't want for waste time. We want for go straight to the issue. We want for start for talk about the ECOWAS court itself. By your own knowledge, waiting na the when they form this court, and waiting at the reasons we make them form the the ECOWAS court.
Well, really, they formed ECOWAS court after the Embassy Protocol in 1991 for say they want a court, particularly for deal with things like human rights. Right. The ECOWAS Treaty itself, na 1975, June 1975, they signed that day na Shaka Stevens, Dr. Shaka Stevens, be president. Well, going on from there, from 1975 to 1991, then they developed this economic community of West African states. And 91, then decide say that now they will get the what they call a community court of justice for deal with any issue that day. And after that, several protocols in there. One way been there in 1993. When at the time we head of state, His Excellency Captain Valentine Strasser, we signed that one day on the 24th of July of 1993, and then another one we followed that day in 1995, I believe, when the then Vice President Solomon Bay was signed. You get plenty in the BN. Sorry, I did talk long because 10 plenty in the BN.
Yes, go ahead.
The whole issue of the ECOWAS court, because the whole idea now for bring equality and interdependence between the states, them for able to make the region develop more quickly than if all man try for develop not only the country or the big country. So that way they try for make things equal and for make peaceful settlement among issues them, because all man don't coincide the one club, so to speak, the one gonna compete.
Right.
If I can put that way.
Okay, yes, that's good. Yeah, so so when they form this ECOWAS, the ECOWAS court will come together. In a recent argument where the government of Sierra Leone they put forward is that the ECOWAS court in ruling no supersede the ruling of the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. And being that Sierra Leone is a signatory to that treaty, we establish the court and everything what they do inside the court. What thing you go say about that stance of government for say the ECOWAS ruling not go supersede the ruling of the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone?
Well, now political stance with all there about what they call sovereignty. This not the country, so nobody in law no go pass me law. But really, the way how you explain and how media then they talk on social media, see people and they say salon government say ECOWAS court cannot supersede the natural law. The reality is slightly different, because what in the ECOWAS court do, then take 10. If you read the whole of the judgment of the Sumana case, then take 10 for say, we know one for good enough by anybody in tow, we know one for say Supreme Court judgment and right to the wrong go, now in the Supreme Court. But we there for deal with human rights issue. And we don't give the government of Salon the opportunity for let them can talk. So the issue where the court, ECOWAS court decide on now human rights issue where relates to what in make the sack Sam Sumana if the 10 way president relieve her of his duties, whether it be right for do so. Right. And that court they come to the conclusion say not be right.
Right. And so, because very good the way you don't explain that, because even the government, when they react to the ruling way the ECOWAS court make, they don't specify them that way they foresee that on human rights grounds. Then just say, the government reject the ruling by the ECOWAS court based on the grounds that the court in ruling not go able for supersede the rulings of the Supreme Court in Sierra Leone, and so would be one for know if the ECOWAS community, the 16 countries that we belong to the ECOWAS community, is it compulsory for them to sign this treaty we establish that court?
Well, if you don't agree with something, you don't go sign, not so.
Right.
Just like if you go join, let's say you go join whether a football club or golf club, where you go, you meet them, get the rules. Where you meet the rules there, if you agree with them, you join. You don't agree with them, you accommodate.
Right.
If inside the time when they use dinner committee, you want decide something, you go discuss. Who want discuss done, where all man satisfied, then sign.
Right.
So technically speaking, in international law, and especially within protocol, then the treaty there and the protocol where they talk, all the countries then get right for say then they sign, and then get right for say they not they sign, and then get right for implement them na the country we then go back. And all the relevant document them, from when we don't see you, I don't see anyone who that tell me say Salon not sign it.
Right. And so being that Sierra Leone signed this treaty, the last time we didn't sign them, and I've been by the former Vice President Solomon Berewa in 2005. We didn't sign them, waiting na been the next things that the government of Sierra Leone be supposed to do. Were they supposed to interpret or incorporate this treaty into the Sierra Leonean law? And, waiting they be supposed to do next after the signing?
Well, technically, yes, they're supposed to incorporate it into Sierra Leone. But Article 11 of that particular protocol there deal with the issue about how for look the protocol and the thing that we didn't sign. And let me read Article 11, paragraphs 1 and 2.
Right.
It will be in English, that will explain afterwards.
Okay.
Paragraph 1. This supplementary protocol shall enter into force provisionally upon signature by heads of state and government. Accordingly, signatory member states and ECOWAS hereby undertake to start implementing all provisions of this supplementary protocol. So what Inandi says, for now, all my we sign this, then they talk say this now, we don't agree say, then so we don't agree to one.
Okay.
And we will do everything we able for do for implement them inside the country. And ECOWAS self will do everything we if for do for make sure say this implementation take place.
Right.
That's number 1. Paragraph number 2. This supplementary protocol shall definitively enter into force upon ratification by at least 9 signatory states, in accordance with the constitutional procedures of each member state. So, the point being, inside paragraph 2,
right,
that it talks say if Pandey 16 and 8, all man no sign, any 9 we sign, it give that protocol a force inside ECOWAS. We give ECOWAS the right for follow what he say inside, what they don't talk inside their agreements.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. And so being that the government, so basically what you talk is, because we sign the agreement, it was left to us to either implement it or incorporate it into the Sierra Leonean law or not.
Yes.
And so whether we implement it into or incorporate it into the Sierra Leonean law or not, the ECOWAS court they go ahead for do their job already.
Well, now that's paragraph 2 say, then get right for go ahead if we not implement it. Once 9 of the 16 we sign, ratify them, that is to say they don't implement it inside the national law.
Right.
And in addition to that, the court can they sit down, can they case them. So in 2015, one case they were named Williams against Liberia and Ghana. Two Williams then take Liberia and Ghana, and other people then go court.
Right.
But for court, that case they short, just explain what in and say. The court say, then get right inside the European Court of Justice, beg your pardon, the ECOWAS Court, then get right for court case, even if the country where they say, where come before the court say, well, I'm not being implemented under national law. And the reason why they get that right then are because of that paragraph 11, article 11, paragraph 1 and 2, where I've been on read to in Anaya.
Okay.
So inside that case, they say, well, even though in that particular case, the country where the Krio court not been signed been signed, but they not put her inside their own country, their law. Is still bound by the provision there once they don't sign, because at least 9 member states they don't sign. And if you not sign, it no matter, ECOWAS get it right for the return, and that's so the court find that particular case. And in 2015, they decide that case.
And so, in your own estimation, what will probably be the reason why the Attorney General and Minister of Justice go to try for reject to the ruling of the ECOWAS court?
Well, the job of Attorney General and Minister of Justice, and effectively 2 sides to a coin, if you put an away
there.
Right. One a politician and one a lawyer. The lawyer might agree with what in ECOWAS talk, but the politician go to the political line. So if the political line say president do something and they don't go to Supreme Court get right, you know, we expect the politician side to talk say, well, we agree with the judgment.
Right. Well, as a layman, as an ordinary man, we're not a lawyer. Media assume say na the politician side of the Attorney General na be the talk. And so by your own estimation, you think say the government of Sierra Leone, whether not the previous government now, not this government, they're not be able for domesticate this ECOWAS court treaty into incorporate into the Sierra Leonean law?
Well, I should say they be able for, and to I cannot tell you whether they incorporate or not. I assume from some of the clips that were hearing from the Attorney General say they're not being done incorporator, and therefore the stance we they take as Attorney General is that the country not bound by the judgment of the ECOWAS court. That means to say the country not get for follow what the court say, because they're not being done pass inside the law.
So meaning that anybody can go sign any treaty, and they respect the time frame where they don't give you for incorporating into your own local laws, and you can still talk say, no, me not agree on the ruling because I not be done incorporate them. Is that something that countries can do, or the international law at this point go supersede that kind of judgment?
Well, I think say if you talk to the common man of the streets, let me say somebody go in a bank and then get a microcredit. Where they sign for that microcredit, they say, well, go now also they go open bank account or they go find box where they put the money that they pay every month. Where you gonna also not do that? When they come for judge in case Bambai, then tell them say, well, that money will be you not pay you. He said, well, I don't agree with what you have been signed because I not be open bank account or not open the box. In a way, a self-defeating argument. Right. Why you go get international organization where you go make treaty and you go sign things then where you say now for the betterment of a whole community, then you come, right inside your law. It tend for suggest say, either you don't agree with what thing that they do. you just be the follow normal thing and talk, or you get a different agenda.
Right. And so, well, yeah, definitely, it will look like, say, you got different agenda. So, Mr. Metzger, the argument where probably the Attorney General, speaking for him now, go probably one for put up with regards to the ECOWAS court ruling is that VP Sumana, in case not to be a constitutional case, not to be a human rights case. And so therefore, if the ECOWAS court the rule on a human rights basis, then therefore, you know, that they're not going to be able to accept them because it be a constitutional case. What do you say to that?
Well, I think anybody with a drive Okada no say not to just petrol they put inside. Sometimes you have to put oil there back. That means to say if you not get oil, na petrol no more for na petrol no more go take one. These are symbiotic things. These are two things that work together: human rights, constitutional law. The government of Salone go to the Supreme Court on His Excellency the Vice President went to the Supreme Court on a constitutional issue because in case we put before the Supreme Court say President not get right for Sakan because the Constitution not say so. What the ECOWAS court say for make the judgment simple? They say on a human rights point, Chief Sumana will get right for the Vice President and for involved in a political party, namely the APC party. So the thing when they take Sakan, they say when he been the APC, you know, whatever happened, APC decide for pulling party membership for expel him from the party. According to the APC constitution, he get right for appeal. That appeal day, the term for the appeal not been undone, they don't get a sack. Apparently, the same day where he right for appeal against the decision, say popular na the party, na in Saka. So the time not be not expire. So it make things very, very simple for the ECOWAS court. Because if somebody get right for be president and a day as a member of a party, the fact that they sack him, that sacking not they take a final. That means to say the in that particular case the NDC the APC then senior body where they deal with all appeals before don't confirm the expulsion for the party from the party before any right come for Saka. So what think ECOWAS court do? They not go inside the Salon judgment. They just say, well, because of that, the case is very, very clear. They not not be get right for Saka because the ten not be not reach it for Saka.
Right. Wow. And so immediately we the ECOWAS court rule on the case. One of the lawyers for Alhaji Sumana, been there for talk say, then go do everything legally and politically for make sure say waiting the court don't say, then go implement them fully in Sierra Leone. Waiting are your understanding of that?
Well, I think say just the try for talk say the courts don't give them rights. Then therefore go to Salone and ask Salone for uphold the judgment of the court. If Salone no want for to uphold the judgment of the court, then really now political and negotiation now will take place because for present purposes, I don't think say any situation will arise other than of recent memory, some Gambe problem we don't see, where ECOWAS gets involved in the internal affairs of a country, whether they accept the judgment or not. Although the judgment is supposed to be binding.
Right. And so talking about the Gambia, President Anesbai Kroma, when that issue happened in the Gambia, wherein the former president, Yahya Jammeh Bingheffo refused to accept the election results, President Anes Kroma had been one of the presidents then and former presidents in West Africa where they've been choose for mediate a peaceful transfer of power in that country there. And we see actively they participate, what could be your understanding that at this point in time, Anesbai Kroma not going for respect the judgment of a court that is established under the ECOWAS?
Well, Dandy, a very difficult question because I think it's a personal and
Uh-huh.
probably political thing.
Right.
Certainly, if a political leader like our president, Dr. Anes Kuruma, involved with ECOWAS procedure for go to Gambia and talk to former President Yahya Jammeh, who at that stage had lost an election, and ask them for give the people then the mandate na in country with the backing of ECOWAS or ECOMOG, if you want to put another way. Well, that means to say a person will respect the rule of law as far as ECOWAS concerned. And that's any layman will look and think.
Right.
And if you don't do that, you go expect, say, if the ECOWAS court give judgment, you don't go just don't say, well, these ones are not leckable, so I put on one side.
Right. And so, that means just like how you don't talk, the understanding is that if President Nkrumah been get for participate in that whole political process in the Gambia, that means he respect ECOWAS as a community, he respect the treaties, he respect everything way the ECOWAS community they try for do. But then it is paradoxical at this point also for CNC, Inyo Attorney General, Minister of Justice, go reject a ruling of the court established by the same body where they try for promote. Right?
Well, I think say it looked funny small.
Yes, exactly. And so how about, what we go talk about some other cases then where where Sierra Leoneans that be done the care go na the ECOWAS court. The case of Wanza, I think El
Mohammed
Tayiba.
Banza.
Right. Then cases then I think say Sierra Leonean government been get for accept, say they're supposed to compensate them people and they. And so under which law, probably by your own understanding, way therefore not able to accept, say, okay, this ruling by the ECOWAS court we accept and therefore we will compensate these people.
Well, and by the same law where they're supposed to look at this case and decide, say, then go accept the judgment of the ECOWAS court. Because between the, I think Wanza case, yes, even all the two cases we talk, and the other one was a policeman, Mohammed El Tayiba, where he go again because he said in Saka, they know me for Sakam. All these things, the same protocol, the same law, the same agreement, in place. And if one look at from that perspective, or from that angle, they say, well, they may not agree on that end there. You will look doubt why they will change their mind if nothing not change.
Right. At this particular time, if nothing not change, why then for change their mind? I stand for, agree with you on that. And so, Vice President Sam Sumana, they don't rule the case, on the case now, ECOWAS now. He's one of the presidential candidates inside Sierra Leone for the upcoming elections. And so, by the ruling of the ECOWAS court, he is to be reinstated back into his position. And then we don't see changes in the security apparatus in the country. Leadership in the country. What do you think, Sig? How this go happen?
Well, first of all, the ECOWAS court very, very carefully ruled in this case. What they not do is, whilst they get right on the basis where they say President of Osaka, they not explicitly state inside the judgment say salon for reinstatement. What they say salon for pay for the 10 way from the 10 way then Sakam, till the 10 way is supposed for left office, so where the government end. In other words, if the rights nominee for Sakam, in right for the vice president, they take go. But they may ask a lawyer may ask the court for also let them consider whether let them consider the case about Victor For the president is appointed nominee as vice president who was in due course selected, and there was an order sought that he should vacate the post of vice president, which the ECOWAS court declined on the basis that there were concluded things and they were very careful about not wanting to upset the peace and stability of Salone. Okay. So that's not one thing. In relation to reshuffle of let's say leading military and police, sort of the security apparatus in the country. Well, generally speaking, people can change security apparatus for a number of reasons. Presidents or president-elects or the governing party, because they are afraid of something happening, or because they want to prevent something happening, or because they want to enforce something. So in this situation now, we just see the nomination then and the request for approval. We'll therefore look and see what are the reasons. Sometimes they may just want for promote some people then before the election, or sometimes APC go come back in power next time.
Yes, it is. And so looking at this entire case now, the ECOWAS Court, Mr. Metzger, I dey try to understand waiting at really the crux of this matter. Waiting make way the government of Sierra Leone go come out boldly and talk say they don't accept, the ruling of the court. So I want to understand between the ECOWAS Court and the government of Sierra Leone, waiting probably go happen between these two. Are they communicating on this issue? Are they trying to? Do you have any idea what is going on between the two?
Well, I'm sure there will be discussions and negotiations behind the table because, otherwise, Lebanon can end up with slack sit by. I mean, at the end of the day, if you join an organization like that, there will be times when they will say something where you go like, or we not agree with, or not go with you internal workings. But I think, say, if government and the legal people the way they look this case, go sit down, consider carefully, and look the judgment and read out from back to front, then go understand the care where this courts take for look the case and for give a judgment we not go directly affect the decision of the Supreme Court. So anybody we talk say ECOWAS rule against the Supreme Court, then they all sometimes then talk quick before they read the full judgment, because the ECOWAS Court make them very, very clear that completely different in them in the look. They not look constitutional issue. They make a point say we not interfere in the final court of the land in your constitutional decision. Whatever you may take from the judgment we then give, because sometimes we can say we lawyer how they write judgment. Now that thing is you're able to understand if the judge be open the eye where they tell us something with surprise. So some of the words the way they inside this judgment, you go get the feeling say them being surprised about the Supreme Court in judgment, but they're not comment bottom in an adverse way.
Right. Wow. And so we they look at them again this way for say waiting ever the community courts don't talk for let the Sierra Leone government do by compensating Alhaji Sumana or plenty other people, media houses like even the BBC, then we say the man should be reinstated. Now, if the Sierra Leone government reject to all of that and they not do them, if we say that go undermine the legality and credibility of the ECOWAS court?
Well, Leo Fesan Salon na one country in a 16 country where they in West Africa. And I think say we are very proud people, Sierra Leoneans, that we like we respect. And I think say anybody will go reflect and think about this, then go find a way for make a solution, make we no less lost respect. Because all the other countries then look we say, hey, because this thing also then rule against another canal, so now they make. How can that work for the cohesion, of a regional union if you just don't accept certain things?
Right.
It won't work.
Right. And so after the ruling, the vice president himself issued a statement say, the ruling, the fight will fight in case na the ECOWAS court, not to be in one in fact, na be a fight for the people of Sierra Leone, now been a fight for the people of West Africa and Africa as a whole. Now, yes. Do you agree with him?
Yes, I do agree with him. Because, as I say, if you look the ruling of the court, the way we then deal with the issue from a human rights perspective, Now, for make the courts look at how people then they do their work, how people then they run their party, how people then they run people their ability for involved in politics. You see, and one of the major problems I think for many of we lawyers that we've been somewhat surprised at the starkness of the opinion of the Supreme Court in the original case. Is that, for talk say, if you don't elect your president and vice president in running mate, when are members of party, for some strange reason, somebody can be powerful in that party. They then manage to maneuver the expulsion of either of them to then they. Once they don't be president, then one term don't nearly do. They don't do one term, the second term they not done it. Then you go get a very strange situation in a country where party them go able for remove presidents them outside the will of the people. Because not only the party them vote for, now the party them put them forward, but now the votes of the people of the country now puts them inside their position. So when they vote for the president and in running mate in 2007 and in 2012, the people then vote for President Nkrumah and Vice President Sumana. So the people then get a right for get the person who they vote for remain in unless not comply with things that were they inside the Constitution. So what in the Supreme Court rule extend what in we lawyer then see inside the Constitution, where the reason there or where you go pull a sitting president or vice president because they don't behave themselves. So now it give authority for say if they pull you in a party, you can come out. Now the ECOWAS judgment not touch down there. What he says when they say they sack you in a party, you get for exhaust all your rights them before you go able for say yes, this person not in a party. So you see the difference.
Right. They're not going to just sack you today. They're not going to just sack you today and then tomorrow the president say, okay, because they don't sack you, so now you are no longer supposed to be vice president of the country.
You don't get qualification for come out. Yes.
Right.
Because you still a member, even if somebody expel you, once you get the right of appeal. So now the crux, the foundation of this judgment, where they don't pull you in a position, let me say, as a political party, but you get a right of appeal. Until you exhaust that right of appeal, the final body inside your political party don't say, now, this one also a final, NEF court, you're not inside this party. Now that 10 day, the situation will come before Supreme Court, supposed for you.
Right.
So they cut inside, if you like, they cut inside before Supreme Court reach.
Well, guess what? So, if you say it been right for let the Supreme Court say able for advise the party for say this might another exhaust all of in rights they hate under this expulsion. And so therefore, when I go back, let it take care of that after that when I brand come. You think say the court's been get right for do stuff like that?
Well, any court get right for do what he want for do. But the first thing we will get for member, and we get respect for we own courts, we own people there. We cannot say His Excellency Alhaji Chief Sumana get respect for court and make it do what he do so. And the case we then put before the court and will be questioned when they ask the court. Nine them fit answer. So some courts then they way, although you ask the one question, then go answer that question by saying, but you been for don't wait for this. Now that's what Supreme Court not do. It not touch that question of the money right or not. The only thing with the Supreme Court do it decide on the powers of the president, the extraordinary powers of the president, where they interpret the term within the Constitution, Supreme Executive Authority for me. That means to say, if you want sack vice president, you can sack vice president. That's the crux of the Supreme Court ruling. But you know, consider the question of whether or not he can sack the vice president because the man not a member of the party when the situation not resolved yet. Because then we'll say they're not be asking that question.
Right. And so, Mr. Metzger, now that you are here, matter of fact, let me ask that question about the supreme authority of the president. You feel say the interpretation of that supreme authority, where they inside the constitution, the government of Sierra Leone be doing right for, where the president be feel say get the powers by inside for like sack the vice president. Is that the interpretation of that supreme authority in the constitution of Sierra Leone?
Well, the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone has given a ruling on this matter. And we as lawyers will therefore respect the ruling of the Supreme Court. I remember being interviewed sometime on Star TV where somebody asked me a similar question. According to we lawyers, we cannot say the Supreme Court has given a bad decision. They're the highest court in the land. But there are those who will want to challenge that. The only court will be able to challenge the Supreme Court inside Salon and Supreme Court back. I would like to see a different case come before the Supreme Court, where they argue and well. Let us see if they will come to that same conclusion in the future. Because I think saying a kind of a very difficult position for both for the president and for the Supreme Court, and of course for the country. Because at the end of the day, the burden of the president in book is heavy. And all man when they look down there from the Supreme Court perspective, then they get for look say we got for support the president. No problem no can be bambai. So words are capable of interpretation, which depending on a particular situation, a particularly constituted court, then one day we dey inside the particular panel can decide today say, now so we dey interpret this. And now so that court they decide. But maybe tomorrow, if a similar case go before them, they're not going to decide in the same way.
Wow, that is so difficult. And so looking at it from that perspective, let's say the Sierra Leonean constitution is a little similar. So it was written based on the American type of constitution, wherein, like what we talk about, the Supreme Court judges, they are nominated by the president, approved by the parliament, and but the difference between the Sierra Leonean one and the American one is that in the American system, when the president don't nominate Supreme Court judges approved by the Congress and the Senate, they are in the Supreme Court bench for life. Nobody knows change it again until they die or retire. In Sierra Leone, the president gets rights for remove them, either for suspend them, sack them, and replace them. So people that they feel say the Supreme Court in Sierra Leone, people that know they operate with freedom, then they fear for them, for men they not lost their job, then they fear for less something not going to happen to their job, and so they are intimidated. And so some of the rulings that what they do based on that biasness. Is that how you look at it?
Well, make I not lie, until I look the provision where it relates to judges then. But something and if we look the situation, we can able for come to certain conclusion then. Who said last year you see them sack senior judge Nassalo?
Well, we most of the people that suspend one Tijanko, right? Yeah, where the president Ernest by Kroma been get for suspend them, and then somebody else can take over that bench day, Well, me, I don't know that story the inside out, but we Constitution, in my view, allow we judges them for being independent. We problem the Nasalon, not just stem from the fact say president they appoint the judiciary. There are many who believe that there is this kind of control over the judiciary where they make them not independent, and whether that controlling the amount of money, whether they pay them not enough and not get sufficient facilities then and all that kinds of things. But really we do need to have security of tenure for judges. If that doesn't exist already, we therefore make sure it happen. We need to have judges properly selected and nominated through a body that looks at people who can be potentially good judges then, and maybe take away a little bit of the kind of political angle about appointing people then, because we judges, especially the judges then weighed in at the highest court of the land, then they give respect all over the world.
we then do the right thing. And if they do something where people they not perceive as right, and not they do we justice outside the world, because people then they look say, well, what's in people are say they after.
Right.
So I mean, I think say we judges then no say then a beacon for we country. All man they look them and the decision where they make. They know say they're important also, even down to investor them for attract people and for can invest in our country. The need for no say if the case go court, then get right, then we'll give them the right thing. It not will be something we will be decided by political or who you know or who that get interest for.
And so so finally, the ECOWAS cordon rule on Sumana in case now. As a lawyer, do you agree with the ECOWAS ruling, or you stand with the government?
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't read them. I think today no more I don't read that ticket. Just for make sure say I understand what he say and the clarity of the ruling. And I get for commend the judge then, because they make it clear. I see the side where they balance for political reasons. And any lawyer will read and go see the side where they balance. But the side where they rule, they make it crystal clear. Say this, na so and so, it be for B, it not B. And then they in one. The fact say they don't wait till the time expire. It don't do for less than Sumana winning case. So something that they will not even get for consider, because if the man don't win the case, they don't win the case.
Right.
You know.
All right. And so me family them this now Mr. Kevin Metzger, of course. We talked to him today from London in the United Kingdom. I know he's a very busy man. He get for travel back to some place. And so, Mr. Metzger, we appreciate you for your time. Of course, we get for the need you as far as this issue concerned. Lady can let you talk about and lady help you for interpret some of these things. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for what you call me.
Right.
Because listen, people are not even realize that, but we can like for talk about NT also. And it's more difficult for explaining simple one for make everybody understand. Lawyer to lawyer, if you put me and other lawyer today, so we'll talk to tomorrow morning. Who don't finish done. If we're not all confuse everybody, we'll at least confuse a few people.
Right.
But the important thing for me, now for try for explain, let people understand what we they try for say about what on be very clearly, make no error, no mistake, nobody.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Right.
All the best.